Welcome back, dear students, to the class of Histology. It's Priya Ambekar, Assistant Professor in Zoology, Satana College, District Nasik. So we are discussing about the series of lectures on the histology of alimentary canal. We have seen that alimentary canal is made up of mouth opens into the esophagus opens into the stomach continues with the small intestine, and finally there is a large intestine. So today in this lecture we are going to discuss about the histology of the stomach. So first of all, we will see the structure of the stomach. As all of you know, that esophagus opens up into the stomach. So the region where the esophagus opens into the stomach, that is called as cardiac stomach. The upper part of the stomach, that which is air filled cavity, that is called as fundus, means in this portion of the stomach there is a air. आपले पूर्वज आधीपासून म्हणतात आपल्याला की पूर्ण भरपेट जेवण करायचं नाही, कारण की पोटामध्ये थोडीशी जागा हवेसाठी सुद्धा असली पाहिजे. सो यू शुड नॉट एव्हर ईट द फुल ऑफ स्टमक. There should be some space for the air in your stomach, so that it will aid in the process of digestion will be proper. So the next part of the stomach, which is main part, that is called as body, and finally the last part, that is called as pyloric stomach. So these are the regions of the stomach. Then next we will see the histology of the stomach. So all of you know that I have told you in the previous lecture when we were discussing about the tears of esophagus. We have discussed that entire alimentary canal is made up of 4 layers. That is, innermost will be the mucosa, followed by the submucosa. After submucosa, there will be the outer lining of the muscularis externa, and finally the outermost will be the serosa. So you can see here in this diagram, all the 4 layers are clearly seen. So you can see that in this section there is a mucous lining which is having many folds. So whenever your stomach is empty, the inner mucosa lining is having the folds. It shows the fold, and that is called as rug. So rug, the lumen of the empty stomach presents the rug. These are nothing but the folds of the mucosa and submucosa, which disappears when the stomach is distended. So obviously whenever there is a food in your stomach, then this structure will not be seen. That is, rug will be only present, or these folds will be only present when your stomach is empty. The next important thing is there is a presence of gastric pits, which are just depressions of the epithelial lining, and this epithelial lining get depressed, and it reaches to the layer of the submucosa somewhere. So you can see here. So you can see here that in the next diagram, you can see here, these are the epithelial linings of the cells, and they are having the depression, and the depression reaches to the about lamina propria and muscularis mucosa. Means 3 layers of the mucosa. कोणत्या कोणत्या आहेत त्या epithelial lining आहे. Then there is a this lamina propria and muscularis mucosa. So this epithelial lining will show the depression and form a pit-like structure. Pit में यानी कि गड्ढा. So गड्ढे like छोटे छोटे pore-like structures you can see here. These are called gastric pits. And finally, these gastric pits will lead to the formation of the gastric glands. So as all of you know that gastric glands are there, and this glandular structure is made up of many different types of cells, which are very important, which plays very important role in the process of digestion. So we will discuss about these cells of digestion in later on. And you can see here mucosa lining is followed by the submucosa, and submucosa is nothing but it is the composition of blood vessels. Then there are connective tissues, then there are lymph vessels. These are present in the submucosa layer. Then there is a muscularis externa. So specialty of the muscularis externa is otherwise there are 2 layers of the muscularis externa, that is longitudinal muscles and circular muscles. But here in the stomach there is a specialized layer of oblique muscles. So oblique muscles you can see only in the stomach. So this is a histological diagram of the stomach. So there is mucosa, then followed by submucosa, then muscularis externa, and finally there is a serosa, which is nothing but the connective tissue. Now, one question arises from this topic, that is gastric glands, which are very, very important, because the gastric glands are nothing but, we have seen that they are the depressions of the epithelial lining, and this depression reaches to the deeper layer of the stomach, that is lamina propria parenta they reach hotat, and they forms a gland-like structure, and that is nothing but the gastric glands. So these gastric glands have the two main types of cells, that is called as parietal cells, that is oxyntic cells. These oxyntic cells, they secrete the hydrochloric acid, HCl. All of you know that whenever there is a improper digestion, there is a acidity, and that acidity is because of the HCl. But during the normal this digestion process, in healthy digestion, HCl plays the important role in killing the bacteria which are present in the food, as well as it helps in activating the inactive enzymes such as pepsinogen. Pepsinogen enzyme, which is secreted by the chief cell. So you can see chief cells are located at the base of the gastric gland, and they manufacture the pepsinogen. Pepsinogen, it is the inactive form of the enzyme. Pepsinogen is converted to the pepsin, which is the active form. But for the conversion of pepsinogen inactive form to the active pepsin, it requires the HCl, and that HCl is synthesized by the parietal or oxyntic cells, and then this pepsinogen carry out the digestion of protein. So around 80% of proteins are digested in the stomach. So as you can see in this diagram very clearly, that at the neck region of the gastric gland, there are the mucus secreting cells which secretes the mucus and makes the food moist, so that it will aid in the process of digestion and passage of the food. Then at the parietal layer, there are the parietal cells which secretes the HCl and intrinsic factor. HCl plays the role in antibiotic function, and it also activates the pepsinogen into the pepsin. Then there are chief cells. Chief cells secretes the pepsin and gastric lipase. Then other than these cells, there are also enteroendocrine cells which secretes the specific hormone, that is called as gastric hormones, which also plays the role in the process of digestion. So again here, this is the again more clear diagram. You can see the folds of mucosa, and these foldings are rug, and there are pits, the gastric pits, which leads to the gastric glands. And gastric glands are, again, they are having the base, that is, you can see the yellowish portion of the gastric gland is base, and there is a bluish portion that is called as neck, and the uppermost portion that is called the isthmus, and these are the various cells which are present in the gastric pits. So there are surface lining cells, regenerative cells, mucus neck cells, then oxyntic or parietal cells, then zymogenic or chief cells, and enteroendocrine cells. So this is all about the histology of the stomach. So thank you very much.